You have been misled. People will often say that failure happens because of bad luck, unfair breaks, or simply being born in the wrong place at the wrong time. But that idea is not the truth. It's just something repeated to keep you silent and complacent. The real truth is much tougher to accept. You fail not because of circumstances, but because your own mind is not fully set on your path. Instead of focusing, you scatter your attention across too many things. You spend time comparing yourself to others, feeling envy, diving into gossip, getting lost in small talk, and chasing distractions. Meanwhile, your own work, your true goals, are left incomplete. And every single day you repeat this cycle, you are robbing your own future. You are giving away the most valuable hours of your life and giving them to nothing that truly matters. I am not here to soothe you or tell you comfortable lies. I am here to challenge you, to call you out, and to hand you the solution. If you give me just this 1 hour, I will reveal to you a principle, a law, that can permanently stop this self-sabotage. A principle so strong that it will make you unshakable, impossible to move, and a true force against any obstacle in your path. But if you ignore it, you will join the millions who waste their energy and their power by sitting back and watching others use theirs. Think about this. If I asked you to recall how many times in the past week you let your mind wander into thoughts of other people's lives, how they live, what they have achieved, what they own, would you be comfortable saying the number out loud? You wouldn't, because deep down you know the number is high. And you also know those thoughts are draining your focus, draining your time, and draining your life. Here is the undeniable truth. No one tells you directly, but you cannot rise while staring at another person climbing their own ladder. You cannot build your life while your eyes are fixed on another person's wall. The reason you are not yet where you want to be has nothing to do with chances never appearing. The real reason is that when the opportunities came, your attention was somewhere else. In this speech, I'm going to hand you a weapon to fight back against the habits that are stealing your future. This tool will not bring you comfort, but it will give you strength. If you have the courage to keep listening, you will walk away with one habit so powerful that it forces life to hand you the results you demand. Before we begin, let's make a deal. You give me your full, undivided attention, and in return, I will give you a method to secure freedom. A method that works only if you keep your focus on your own work until it finally produces results. If I fail to deliver, you may throw away my words. But if I succeed, then you must act today, because delay is the partner of drifting and the enemy of progress. Too many men waste years pouring their attention into the lives of others, envying their success, gossiping about their mistakes, offering shallow praise that sparks no action, and empty blame that corrects nothing. Meanwhile, their own lives, their own garden, grows weeds because no one tends it. The truth is simple. Controlled attention is law. And this law only rewards those who obey by keeping their focus on the work that will actually bear fruit. So I call you to discipline. Shut the door. Silence interruptions. Place a clean sheet of paper in front of you. And take a pencil in hand. Do not let an errand, a voice, or a stray thought steal this hour. Think of attention as currency, the most valuable coin you own. If you divide that coin between two things, you purchase nothing. If you split it, you walk away empty. Only concentrated attention pays real dividends. There are certain pillars that hold up the entire structure of self-mastery. They are having a definite chief aim, controlled attention, accurate thinking, decisive action and persistence, auto-suggestion, organized planning, going the extra mile, and practicing tolerance. Without these, the mind runs wild, like an untamed horse. With them, the mind becomes a trained steed, strong, steady, and able to carry you directly to your goals. Understand this. The mission is not to defeat someone else, but to master yourself. Success is not about watching another person's race, but training your own stride until you break the tape at the finish line with your own hands. The person who keeps glancing into another's lane will stumble, but the one who runs at his own pace will always finish where he intended, no matter who passes him or falls behind. For the next 30 days, this is your order. Each morning, Read your definite chief aim. Devote one protected hour to study. Keep a record of where your attention goes. Offer more service than you are paid for. Meet with 2 to 5 allies in complete harmony. And end each night by honestly reviewing your progress. Repeat these words with me. I advance daily upon my chosen aim. Let these words act as the chain that anchors your focus and keeps it steady in place. Every repetition is like driving a stake deeper into the ground, until your attention holds firm against the winds of distraction and the noise of the world. Controlled attention means building the habit of keeping your mind fixed on one subject until that subject finally serves your purpose. It is the conscious decision to direct your thoughts toward one chosen object and to reject everything else that does not help you achieve it. This is the exact opposite of drifting. Drifting is what happens when your mind jumps aimlessly from one task to another, scattering energy everywhere and gaining nothing in the end. The drifting mind is like a candle left in the open wind. The light flickers, the flame grows weaker, and eventually one strong gust blows it out. The controlled mind, on the other hand, is like a lamp protected behind glass. Its flame steady, its light consistent, its heat focused and directed. The man who builds this habit shapes his circumstances to match his will. But the man who ignores it will always be shaped and bent by the circumstances around him. Controlled attention begins with clarity. The mind cannot hold onto what is unclear. You cannot grasp fog with your hand. You can only hold a solid object. That solid object is your written chief aim, the one goal that you put into words and define. It becomes the lens that gathers the scattered rays of your thoughts and focuses them into one sharp point. Without this lens, attention scatters. With it, attention becomes concentrated power. Many people fool themselves into believing they already have controlled attention just because they can work hard for a short while. But that is not true control. Real controlled attention is not a sprint. It is a long, steady march of thought in one direction, continued over many days and even years. It is not the burst of sudden enthusiasm that fades away. It is quiet persistence, the kind that refuses to be distracted and pushes aside every thought or suggestion that does not serve the chosen aim. In life, every man faces 2 roads, the spectator's road and the builder's road. On the spectator's road, you spend your time watching others. You measure yourself against their progress. You watch their victories, their failures, their applause, and their criticism. But in doing so, you spend more energy observing than advancing. On the builder's road, things are different. You measure your days and hours only by the steps you take toward your own aim. And the only applause you truly seek is the approval of the man you see in the mirror. Understand this. The mind is like a fertile field. Whatever seed you plant and continue to nurture will grow. Attention is the act of tending that field. If you give your attention to envy, to complaint, or to shallow pleasures, those weeds will spread and choke out the good growth. But if you give your attention daily to your chief aim and water it with steady effort, then your field will yield a harvest that matches your desire. When you unite your thoughts and actions, the harvest of success is guaranteed. One of the most powerful tools to keep your attention fixed is autosuggestion. This means that every morning and every night, you speak your chief aim out loud, not flatly, but with real feeling. Feeling is like the water that nourishes the seed. Repetition is like the sun that warms it. Without emotion, your words are like seeds dropped on stone. Without repetition, the soil stays cold and the seed never grows. Autosuggestion is not just idle wishing. It is the deliberate, emotional command you give to your subconscious mind. You are instructing it to hold the image of your aim until that image becomes part of your very nature. Once the picture is firmly set in your subconscious, it begins to guide your choices, your actions, and even the opportunities that come your way. What you hold in your mind with faith, you will eventually hold in your hands through action. Think about Edwin C. Barnes. His great aim was to become a business partner of Thomas Edison. At the start, he had no money and no status, yet he did not waver. He did not divide his attention across different ventures. He held to that one aim as a sailor holds tightly to a compass. In time, his unwavering focus impressed Edison himself, and the aim became reality. Or consider Dr. Frank W. Gonzalez. For years, he carried the plan to build a college for young men without financial means. He thought about it, spoke about it, and worked toward it until the vision was so deeply fixed in his mind that its success became inevitable. When a moment came, Philip D. Armour stepped forward with the funds, not because of luck or chance, but because years of focused attention had prepared the way. Take also George Eastman, founder of Eastman Kodak. He fixed his mind on a single idea, making photography simple and accessible for the public. He did not get distracted by other industries or passing fads. He held to his one vision until he gathered the tools, the knowledge, and the men required to make it real. This is the law in motion, the steady gaze upon one goal until it yields. Now, here are the exercises for mastering controlled attention. They are simple, but they demand discipline. First, close your ears to useless opinions. Much of what people call conversation is nothing but mental trash that clutters the mind. Every time you listen to gossip or unproven talk, you are renting out your attention to another man's mistake. Second, set the purpose of each hour before it begins. If the hour is for study, then study. If it is for work, then work. If it is for rest, then rest. This habit of knowing exactly what you will do before you do it is the habit of a commander. A man who enters an hour without a purpose is like a traveler beginning a journey with no destination. Third, refuse tasks that do not move your chief aim forward. Many times, what looks like opportunity is simply busy work. Activity is not the same as progress. Measure every demand on your time against your chief aim. If it does not serve, let it go. Fourth, embrace every task that does move your aim forward, even if it seems small or unimportant. Many men fail because they wait for the big break and ignore the small steps. Controlled attention sees every small step as a brick in the wall, each one necessary to complete the structure. Controlled attention also means governing not just your thoughts, but your senses. What you choose to look at, what you listen to, what you read, all of these are seeds being planted in your mind. If they do not serve your aim, they will crowd it out. You cannot fill your eyes and ears with shallow entertainment all day and then expect your mind to deliver golden results at night. You will know your attention is truly under control when you can bring your mind back to your aim whenever it wanders, as a trained falcon returns to the glove. In the beginning, your mind will stray often. That is natural, but each time you notice and each time you bring it back, the leash grows stronger until the habit becomes fixed. The value of controlled attention is not only in the results it produces, but also in the character it builds. A man who can hold his mind where he wills is also the man who can hold his tongue when necessary, hold his course when storms come, hold his peace when provoked, and hold his courage when others fall away. These are the marks of true leadership. Now, speak these affirmations until they become your own. I give my attention only to what advances my aim. I control my eyes, ears, hands, and hours. I bring my thoughts back to my purpose whenever they stray. I refuse everything that does not serve my chief aim. These are not empty charms. They are commands you are giving to yourself. And your inner self will obey the voice it hears most often. When you master this habit of controlled attention, you'll find that time itself seems to expand. Why? Because when your focus is sharp, you accomplish in hours what drifting men waste away in days. With controlled attention, you will no longer waste hours wandering down paths that lead nowhere. Every step will be chosen, every action measured, every result intentional. The days of scattered effort and vague hope will be behind you, replaced by steady labor and certain reward. Controlled attention is the guard stationed at the gate of your mind. Without this guard, any passing thought can enter and make itself at home. With it, only the thoughts that serve your aim are allowed through. But this guard must never rest, because distraction never rests. Distraction is always waiting at the gate, dressed in the clothing of interest, urgency, or pleasure. To live without controlled attention is to live like a reed in the wind, bending to every gust. But to live with controlled attention is to live like a tree with deep roots, unmoved by storms, always growing upward toward the light you have chosen. This is not just theory. This is the lived experience of every man who has risen from obscurity to power by keeping his steady gaze fixed on his own path. Once your attention is trained, you will look back and marvel that you ever lived without it. You will see the wasted years, the empty hours, the missed opportunities, all because your eyes were fixed elsewhere. From that point on, you will guard your attention the way you guard your wealth, because you will know that the theft of your focus is truly the theft of your future. Remember this: you cannot serve two masters, and you cannot chase two aims. Fix your attention on the one aim that is truly worthy of your best, and then give yourself to it fully, without reserve. This is the law of controlled attention. It never fails those who remain faithful to it. Controlled attention is power. But unless you guard the gates of your mind, that power will be stolen. Guarding the gates means deciding carefully what thoughts are allowed in and what thoughts must be rejected. It means keeping watch over your mental space with the same vigilance that a banker uses to guard his vault. You cannot let worthless thoughts enter and still expect valuable ones to remain. The first guard at the gate is accurate thinking. This is the practice of separating fact from opinion, truth from rumor, and wise counsel from empty talk. Most people admit all thoughts freely into their minds, and then wonder why their thinking is so cluttered and confused. But the wise man inspects every idea before giving a place in his mind. He tests it, demands proof, and only accepts it if it meets the standard of truth. Accurate thinking also requires that you seek advice only from men whose results prove their wisdom. The world is full of advisors whose own lives show no evidence of success. To follow them is to follow a blind guide into a pit. If you needed a bridge built, you would not hire a dreamer. You would hire an engineer. Likewise, if you want to build a fortune, you must seek counsel only from those who have built their own. And you must also recognize the 6 basic fears, for they are thieves of focus. These fears slip through unguarded gates and steal attention away from your aim. The 6 fears are the fear of poverty, the fear of criticism, the fear of ill health, the fear of loss of love, the fear of old age, and the fear of death. Of these 6, the fear of poverty and the fear of criticism are the most dangerous to your daily focus. The fear of poverty makes a man's hand tremble when it should be signing a bold order. It keeps the mind fixed on what might be lost instead of what could be gained. It weakens resolve and stops a man from taking the very step that would free him from want. If you allow this fear inside your gates, it will. Hesitation whispers at every decision. The fear of being criticized is one of the strongest forces that keeps people small in life. It convinces them to hide their true goals, to water down their ambitions, and to avoid taking actions that might attract attention or judgment. This fear works like a thief. It diverts your focus away from your purpose and ties it to the opinions of others. A person controlled by this fear is always looking sideways, worrying about who might be watching. But you cannot keep your eyes firmly fixed on your destination while constantly glancing over your shoulder. This is why comparison is so dangerous. It is the weapon fear uses to grow inside you. The moment you start measuring yourself against someone else's speed, wealth, or possessions, you invite doubt and resentment into your heart. Both of these emotions are like weeds. They spread quickly and choke the very seed of your purpose before it has a chance to grow. Your true measure should never be another man. It should always be your own definite aim and the plan that leads to it. And to protect this focus, you must also protect your environment. The truth is, your surroundings influence your thoughts far more than you may want to admit. When you spend time with people of courage, you naturally strengthen your own courage. When you surround yourself with people who complain, you will feel your own strength draining. The same rule applies to the spaces you live in. A room filled with order encourages clarity and discipline in the mind. A messy, cluttered room invites confusion and distraction. Quiet hours allow reflection and deep thought, while constant noise drowns out the inner voice of reason. For this reason, I give you a command. Remove one weakening influence from your environment every single week. It could be a habit that wastes your time, a person who feeds your doubts, or a place where nothing useful is ever gained. Replace it with something that strengthens you, a good book, a wise mentor, or a peaceful environment that encourages productive thought. Tolerance is also a guard at the gate of the mind. An open mind toward truth allows helpful ideas to enter. A closed mind to gossip and falsehood protects you from harm. The man who is intolerant, who refuses to listen just because a voice is different from his own, may shut out the very idea that could have led him to success. On the other hand, the man who is too tolerant, who listens to everything and accepts everything, will fill his mind with weeds that choke his purpose. The key is balance. Open to truth, closed to lies. The golden rule is another law that protects your name and reputation. When you deal fairly with others, when you give the same quality of service you would want for yourself, you won't need to waste energy defending your reputation. A clean name is like a shield. It frees your mind to focus on building. On the other hand, people who are constantly making excuses or explaining themselves have little energy left for true progress. Consider Abraham Lincoln. Throughout his career, he faced endless storms of criticism. Some called him weak, others reckless, sometimes both in the very same week. But he never abandoned his fixed purpose. He gathered facts carefully, kept his counsel, and acted when the time was right. His attention was always on preserving the Union, never on silencing every critic. Think also of John Wanamaker, who built a great mercantile empire while keeping the trust of the public. His dealings were clean, his promises kept, his service always fair. Because of this, he didn't waste time fighting suspicion. There was no suspicion to fight. His mind was free to focus on growth, order, and improvement. To train your own guards, keep what I call a 7-day attention ledger. For 1 week, record where your mind has been each hour. Note the hours spent working toward your aim and the hours lost to distraction. At the end, you'll see clearly where your gates are unguarded and which thieves you've been letting in. Close those gates. Next, write down 3 names of people whose voices must be limited. Those who weaken your resolve or feed you unworthy thoughts. Spend less time and fewer words with them. Then write 3 names of people whose advice strengthens you, whose lives prove their wisdom. Increase your time with them. Seek their counsel when needed. And finally, speak this affirmation daily. I close my mind to idle talk. I weigh facts. I choose companions who strengthen my attention. I guard my gates against fear and falsehood. I admit only what serves my purpose. Speak your aim until the words are not only spoken, but live through your actions. Think of your mind as a fortress. Inside that fortress, the treasure you are guarding is your focused attention. The lock that protects it is accurate thinking. The wall that surrounds it is the environment you choose to live in. The guards that keep peace within are tolerance and the golden rule. If you keep each of these guards in place, your attention will remain free to serve your purpose without interruption. When you finish, declare this. This is my aim. I give my mind and my day to it. I refuse all that does not lead me nearer. These words act like a key that locks your attention onto the right course before distractions even have a chance to arrive. They turn your thoughts from drifting with the crowd to moving steadily down your chosen path. Keep your written chief aim where your eyes will see it often. Place it on your desk, by your bedside, even in your pocket as you carry your wallet. Each time your eyes fall on it, pause for a moment and repeat one line aloud. I attend to this and nothing else until it is done. This is more than a reminder. It is reinforcement. The mind does not stay fixed after one morning reading. It must be called back many times throughout the day. Each glance, each repetition, strengthens the bond between your attention and your chosen purpose. At midday, stop your work and return to your aim. Say aloud, I return to my purpose. I take the next step now. Then act at once. Write the letter, make the call, set aside the money, whatever the next step may be. In this way, no day ends without progress. When the day is finished, take your chief aim once more into your hand. Read it aloud with the same strength you had in the morning. Then declare, I kept faith with my aim. Today I advanced it by this act. Speak the act aloud. Then continue. Tomorrow I shall advance it by this act. Name the step you will take. This closes the day with clarity and opens the next with purpose. Do not rush this drill as though it were a chore to get through quickly. Stand tall as you speak. Breathe fully. Give the words time to sink deeply into your mind. The strength of your voice and the firmness of your posture are part of the command you give yourself. If you rush through it, you're telling your mind that your aim is not worthy of time or respect. Make this practice your unbreakable daily law for 30 days. Do it whether you feel motivated or tired, whether yesterday brought you success or defeat. Remember, habits are not built in the easy moments. They are forged in the hard ones. The man who can hold his focus even in discouragement has mastered himself. The man who loses focus has mastered nothing. On the 7th day of each week, stand and speak this vow aloud. I am the master of my attention. My attention makes me master of my fate. Speak it as though it were a sacred promise you must keep under every condition. Repetition builds belief. Belief builds action. Action builds results. This is the chain that turns your aim into reality. In time, you will notice that these lines begin to come to you without effort, unbidden during the day. This is proof that your mind has begun to accept them as natural law. At that point, keeping your focus will become easier because your mind will return to your aim automatically, just as a trained hound returns to its scent. Yet even a trained mind will sometimes wander. If a doubtful, idle, or discouraging thought tries to intrude, stop yourself sharply and say, Stop. I choose my thought. Then immediately replace it with your chief aim statement. This is not a game. It is the training of your command over your own mind. Each time you do this, your power of control grows stronger. Understand this. Your chief aim is the compass. The affirmations you speak are the hand upon the compass. The compass alone cannot guide you unless the hand holds it steady on course. The hand alone, without the compass, has no direction. Together, they keep you true through storms and distractions. Do not expect the world to reward or honor your focus. Many will try to pull your attention to their concerns. Some will do so innocently. Others will test your will. Your answer must remain simple. I have already chosen my work for today, and I will not change it. The daily drill is your shield. It gives you both the words and the strength to keep your eyes fixed where they belong. Never neglect to name aloud the act by which you advance your aim today and the act by which you will advance it tomorrow. The mind respects what is spoken and recorded. If you cannot name a single act that moved you forward, then admit that you drifted and resolve that tomorrow will not be the same. In 30 days, you will notice a change in yourself. Your aim will no longer feel distant. It will feel as though you are walking toward it with steady steps. The noise of the crowd will fade away, while the voice of your work grows stronger. Distractions will lose their pull, because the habit of returning to your aim will have taken root. But do not stop at 30 days. This practice is not only for beginnings, it is for life. As long as you have an aim, you will need the habit of daily focus. You may change the aim once it is achieved, but never abandon the discipline that brought you there. Each new purpose will find in you a mind already trained to serve it. Speak these affirmations often. I keep my eyes upon my aim. I advance it daily. I choose my thoughts and refuse all that does not serve my purpose. My attention is my servant, and it obeys me. Let these words become the law by which you govern your days, until they shape not only your thoughts, but also your life. Many people begin with strong decisions, but they do not last. They stay steady for a while, but the moment they see someone else taking what looks like a shortcut, they abandon their own road and chase that easier path. In doing so, they throw away all the momentum they had built. Persistence is what carries you through until the road you chose finally takes you where it was meant to go. Persistence is what silences the constant itch to compare yourself to others. When your days are filled with pushing forward on your own mission, you don't even have the time or desire to study someone else's progress. Work is the most powerful cure for envy. You cannot pull weeds in another man's garden if your hands are already busy planting seeds in your own. Think of Henry Ford. His purpose was simple: to build a car for the common man. People laughed at him. His competitors focused on luxury cars to make more profit. His advisors urged him to shift direction and target the rich instead. But Ford refused to waver. He persisted, and in time, the world adjusted to his design and his price. He succeeded not because he copied others, but because he measured himself against his own vision. Now, consider Thomas Edison. He failed thousands of times in his effort to create the electric lamp. Other inventors claimed they were closer to success. Many mocked his methods. Others gave up entirely. But Edison kept his eyes on one single problem until it finally gave way. If he had stopped to compare his pace with theirs, he would have wasted the very hours that eventually delivered his breakthrough. Or look at Abraham Lincoln. He endured relentless criticism, insults, and doubt. He faced bitter rivals in politics and fierce enemies in war. Yet, he did not waste his energy trying to silence every detractor. His focus was on one mission: preserving the Union. That persistence, despite endless opposition, made him one of the most enduring leaders in history. Now, how can you practice persistence in your own life? Start small. Each morning, make one hard decision before noon. Don't wait for circumstances to force your choices. Pick one with purpose. Then commit to one focused labor for 90 days straight without abandoning it. Let the repetition build persistence in you, the way heat forges steel. Do this even when you're tempted to jump ship for something newer, shinier, or more exciting. Remove at least one voice of discouragement from your life. It could be a person, a book, or even a habit of listening to negative talk. If it shakes your persistence, if it weakens your resolve, it has to go. The courage to walk alone requires that you cut away whatever pulls you backward. And then, each morning, speak this affirmation aloud. I decide now. I never quit. I keep my eyes on my own road. Repeat it until your mind accepts it as law, until it becomes less of a sentence and more of a command that your nature obeys automatically. Understand this. The courage to walk alone is not about pride or pretending you need no one. It is about having the strength to walk your road, even if no one else is walking beside you. Allies are valuable, yes, but whether they show up or not cannot determine your pace. Your contract is with your aim, and you are bound to it whether the road is crowded or empty. Comparison is a thief disguised as a teacher. It pretends to offer you lessons from the success of others, but in truth, it steals your focus while you're watching them. If you truly wish to learn from another man, study his principles, not his pace. Study his methods, not his milestones. Then return to your own path, wiser but not diverted. The man who frees himself from comparison also frees himself from needing either the crowd's applause or the crowd's insults. Both are chains. The same people who cheer you today may jeer you tomorrow. If you let yourself be moved by either, you become nothing more than a puppet of public mood. Anchor your reward in the fulfillment of your aim, and nothing can sway you. Your path will have seasons, some slow, some fast. In slow seasons, comparison will tempt you to despair. In fast seasons, it will tempt you toward pride. Both are distractions. Keep your pace steady. Keep your head level. Keep your eyes forward. Measure your progress only against the plan you wrote and the steps you keep. Every man who has ever done great work walked long stretches without applause. That is the test. Can you stay focused and keep going even when no one claps for you? When you labor faithfully through long, silent miles, you develop the courage to win. If you rely on constant notice or applause from the crowd, you will stop whenever the crowd looks elsewhere. Make it a rule. When you feel tempted to compare yourself to others, immediately return your attention to your aim. Read it aloud. Name the next act. Then perform it without delay. This breaks the chain of idle thought and returns you to work that truly matters. A mind returned to its purpose is a mind safe from drift. In the end, the race is never against other men. It is against the time you might have wasted focusing on them instead of your own goals. The man who keeps to his road with decision and persistence will pass every distraction and reach the destination he has chosen. The man who wanders to watch others may see much, but accomplish little. The mastermind is one of the greatest powers a man can command, but it must serve as a mirror, not a stage. A mirror reflects truth. A stage tempts you to perform. The purpose of a mastermind is not applause or showmanship. It is the blending of minds in harmony to strengthen each member's focus on their own aim. In 30 days, you will notice a change in yourself. Your aim will no longer feel distant. It will feel as though you are walking toward it with steady steps. The noise of the crowd will fade away, while the voice of your work grows stronger. Distractions will lose their pull, because the habit of returning to your aim will have taken root. But do not stop at 30 days. This practice is not only for beginnings, it is for life. As long as you have an aim, you will need the habit of daily focus. You may change the aim once it is achieved, but never abandon the discipline that brought you there. Each new purpose will find in you a mind already trained to serve it. Speak these affirmations often. I keep my eyes upon my aim. I advance it daily. I choose my thoughts and refuse all that does not serve my purpose. My attention is my servant, and it obeys me. Let these words become the law by which you govern your days, until they shape not only your thoughts, but also your life. Many people begin with strong decisions, but they do not last. They stay steady for a while, but the moment they see someone else taking what looks like a shortcut, they abandon their own road and chase that easier path. In doing so, they throw away all the momentum they had built. Persistence is what carries you through until the road you chose finally takes you where it was meant to go. Persistence is what silences the constant itch to compare yourself to others. When your days are filled with pushing forward on your own mission, you don't even have the time or desire to study someone else's progress. Work is the most powerful cure for envy. You cannot pull weeds in another man's garden if your hands are already busy planting seeds in your own. Think of Henry Ford. His purpose was simple: to build a car for the common man. People laughed at him. His competitors focused on luxury cars to make more profit. His advisors urged him to shift direction and target the rich instead. To form your own mastermind, write the names of men you would invite. Beside each name, note the value they bring and the value you will provide in return. This ensures the alliance starts with mutual respect and usefulness. Then draft a pledge of harmony and have each member sign it. Fix the dates and times of your councils for at least 3 months. A group that meets irregularly will drift into irregular thinking. Discipline in meeting breeds discipline in action. Keep a written record. Keep a written record of every decision and task assigned in your mastermind council, so that each man leaves with clear marching orders. If a member begins to use the council as a stage for boasting, seeking approval, or discussing matters unrelated to the aims, address it immediately. The mastermind exists to reflect and refine each man's focus, not to distract or impress. A smaller group in harmony is far more valuable than a larger one in disorder. Before each council, speak this affirmation aloud. We combine our minds in harmony. We plan our work and work our plan. Each man strengthens the other's focus. Let these words remind you. The purpose of the group is to sharpen attention, not scatter it. A true mastermind accelerates your progress toward your aim, protects you from blind spots, and encourages you when the road is long. But it can do these things only if each member comes to serve as well as to be served, to listen as well as to speak, and to build as well as to receive. In the presence of such allies, you see yourself more clearly. Their counsel echoes your own thoughts, refined and strengthened. Your attention sharpens, knowing others expect you to act as you promised. You offer the same sharpening in return. Use the mastermind as a mirror, honest, exact, and reflecting only what is there. Resist the temptation to turn it into a stage. Once you do, you trade truth for show and progress for performance. For the next 30 days, live as a man under orders, orders you have written for yourself. Each dawn, read your chief aim aloud. Speak the lines that bind your attention. Begin the first act that serve your goal. Through the day, measure every choice against that aim. At night, account for the steps you took. Name the step you will take tomorrow. Dedicate one guarded hour each day to study or work that increases your usefulness. Render more service than you are paid to render and record it in your ledger. Save at least a tenth of all you receive, directing it toward books, tools, and ventures that advance your purpose. Meet your allies in harmony and remove one unwholesome influence each week. Do not break the chain. 30 days will forge the habit, and the habit will hold you. When the habit holds you, focus will no longer be a struggle. It will become your nature. You will move toward your aim as naturally as a river runs to the sea. Remember, victory is not the end of the road. It is merely a station. The man who stops at one station will soon see the train leave without him. When you reach your present aim, write another. Keep the drill, keep the guards, keep the order. Each new aim will be easier because you are now a trained commander of your own mind. The crowd will not understand the change in you. They will ask why you seem less concerned with their talk, why you refuse diversions that once claimed you. They will not see that you have traded their noise for the music of progress, their drift for your deliberate march. Let them talk. You will have results, and results speak in a voice all men understand. Say this oath each morning and night. I fix my attention upon my chief aim. I render just and abundant service. I save with purpose. I hold to my plan with decision and persistence. I keep harmony. I advance daily. These are the laws of the focused life. Obey them, and you will command your future. I have given you the map. The march is yours to make. Begin today, for tomorrow will bring new demands on your attention. The man who is not fixed upon his own path will be pulled to walk another's. Guard your mind. Master your focus. Walk with the calm of one who knows where he is going and will not be turned aside. When you have walked this path, return to learn more. There are other laws to master, other tools to sharpen, other stations to reach. Each lesson is another step toward complete mastery of yourself. Take the next step and the next, until the world knows you by the mark of one who governs his thoughts and therefore governs his fate.